Hello. I think I'm on right now, but I wanted to one second, do this and share screen, pick the screen. Okay, whatever. I'm not gonna do it this time. All right. Hannibal's got a nice slide for us, so this is perfect. I forgot that I'm supposed to have my own like initial slide that shows off what we're doing, but this is the Veloren Reading Club number 9. Today we are joined by Hannibal, and Hannibal has been working on some stuff related to release parties and other modeling in Veloren. And so, interesting thing about this reading club, though, is that we're not going to be diving too deep into a lot of the technical stuff, and instead we're going to be taking a bigger look at like the art side, how part of the pipeline work. And so, Hannibal, I will bring you onto stream here, and we can get started with your presentation.
Hi. So today we're going to talk about the art side of Veloren, and definitely not technical side because I'm really bad at it. But we're going to see how to make the mockups and mockups that are also used for the party maps. But the main goal of the mockups is actually to help the PostGen team when they are making the post-generated buildings and everything. And then on the side, I also use them as party maps because why not? So yeah, the agenda for today is first we are going to check on how to make the terrain on World Painter, because I use not only Magica Voxel but also World Painter to make the actual terrain that I will then load in the game. Then we'll see how to import the terrain in Magica Voxel because World Painter is only to draw the landscape and everything. Then we'll check how to create the palette for the entire map because the palette is something important for Veloren because there are some rules that applies to it because we are using Magica Voxel for Veloren. And then at the end we'll see how to do the building and everything. We'll just do one part of the building and not an entire map because it takes just too much time for it, and we only have 1 hour, 1 hour and a half.
And I'll just interrupt there for a second. I just want to specify a little bit when we talk about some the world gen. I want to just specify that this is the ideas behind what we're doing here are complementary to a lot of the procedural stuff that is done. So, for example, we have a lot of algorithms that will go and set up terrain so that we have erosion and everything like that. But then, as Hannibal mentioned, a lot of the work that they do is based on sort of either mock-ups or concept art, or just stuff that looks cool in game. And so this is sort of where the break is between procedural generation and custom made content.
Yep. So for World Painter, here's the link. I will post the slides if I can send you the slides if someone wants, but you wants them. But you can download World Painter on this link. This is a tutorial of World Painter, but one thing you have to know is that World Painter is a software for Minecraft at first. It's used mostly for Minecraft maps. And this is a tutorial by a Minecraft YouTuber called Geracraft. And you can follow this tutorial and everything to learn the basis of World Painter. We are not going to dive too much into World Painter today because we don't have time for it, but one thing you have to note is that while following this tutorial, instead of exporting it as a Minecraft map like Geracraft does it in the tutorial, you have to export it as a height map because you will use the height map in the next step of Magica Voxel. So just to make you see how World Painter looks like. So and also you can download in the video of Geracraft. He has custom brushes and everything because the base brushes are too round or too squarey and they don't actually make for good landscape. So just new world. One important thing to note is for the dimensions, you want something that you can divide by 256 because that's the tile limit on Magica Voxel. So I usually use those, like, yep. Then you put it on flat to remove all of this. For the water level and the land level, I can let you decide what you want, what's best for you. And then you have a map. Like you have your entire map, and you can start placing stuff you want. So I won't draw a map because I already have a map drawn for today. But yeah, if you follow the tutorial, you will see how to use World Painter. And yeah, instead of exporting it as a Minecraft map, you export it as a height map. Okay, so next, the importation in Magica Voxel. So here are two tutorials. Both of them are by Art Chani, who is mostly a YouTuber based on stuff in Magica Voxel as well. And if you want to learn the basis of Magica Voxel, he has also some good tutorials and everything, notably like the shortcuts you can use within the game, within the software. Some important things to note with Magica Voxel is you export it as a height map, like the World Painter map. Let me check if I have. I don't know if I have a map to be loaded right now, but we'll open Magica Voxel. And one really important thing is when you want to export to import a map in Magica Voxel, you have to use the base palette number 2 because it will color the height map. And he has two tutorials. One of them is just to import in one tile the entire map, which makes it relatively small because it's only 256 by 256. But I linked this because he links it the excess shader, which is a Magica Voxel shader that you need in order to generate the terrain. So yeah, it only works with the excess height shader. It only works with the base palette number 2, and only change to the third palette, so the customizable palette, when you are done with raising the terrain. I'm just going to load it quickly. So yeah, we're in Magica Voxel right now. Let me check if I have some. I don't think I have. Yeah, I don't know if. Oh, maybe this. Yeah. So you place the images with the second palette, remember, and then you have to, like the second tutorial as well. He uses Photoshop to divide the image with the number of tiles he wants. You can use Photoscape X, which is basically Photoshop but for free. If you don't own Photoshop, it's what I use as well. So you load the images one by one, and you have to link them within the, like, to make the terrain coherent. I won't import all of them because it takes too much time, but once you have the images, you raise the terrain like this. You change the proportions above, and then you use the height shader, and you will see the height map is transforming into terrain, which is pretty awesome. I have no idea how it works. I just downloaded the shader and saw that it worked, so it's perfect for me. But if you want to take a look at the shader and how it works itself, you can download it in the in this video, the first video. So now for creating the palette, because it's really important to know that all the assets you will want to make in your mockup have to use the same palette, because they will all be at one point in the same Magica Voxel asset. So, not this. They will all be within this. So I can show the last party map I've made, which is the Desert City mockup. I'm not saving because I've already generated this terrain. As you can see, all of those are different assets. You can find them, all of them here. There are like 100 or more, even probably 1,000. But yeah, you have to use the same palette because they will all be at one point in the same asset.
Just out of curiosity, how long did it take you end to end to create this?
I would say around like between 100 hours and 200 hours, maybe.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. I don't like, sometimes I just forget to check the time. So,
Yeah.
And surprisingly, some of the stuff that looks like it took more time didn't actually take that much time. The thing that took the most time was actually placing all the buildings, because I have to do it one by one. There is a lot of copy pasting, of course, because it's only supposed to serve as an inspiration for the project team. Like, being a party map is only something on the side, so the map is a bit more useful than just being like an inspiration. So yeah, I guess I can like, those are all the assets used for.
Wow.
And the palm trees, I've modified them a bit, but I'm not the author of the base palm trees. I just removed the coconuts because to make them like more like desert palm trees, and also I modified the colors so they would fit this palette. Like, it shows again that having one palette is necessary, because at the end of the day it will all be generated in one asset. Another important thing to note is, do not use the last three rows of the index, like, because they are used for special indices for Veloren. Like, it's not for Magica Voxel, it's only because we use Magica Voxel for Veloren that we have to do this. And the only two colors I've put there is because this is the holo index, to remove stuff like if there is land when I generate the map in game, so it would remove the land. And this is the water. So like, this is like a plain block in Magica Voxel, but if you look at it in game, it turned into water. Yep. And for the colors, I use Adobe Color because it's really good. You can just like, let me check actually. Adobe Color. You can just go on Adobe Color in Explore and just type whatever you want if you want something of that color. So, for example, if you want to make trees, you type wood, and then you just find the color that you like. So, for example, there is those two that could be that could be good for making trees and everything. So it's pretty good if you, like me, you don't really know to create a color within Magica Voxel, because you can always create a color with those tools and everything, but it's not really something I master because it's quite complicated to actually make a decent looking color. I'm just saving. And then I guess we can look at the building part now. So I don't know if you noticed, but there is no terrain for this party map, and the party map was actually introduced like this in the game. So it's basically a floating square in water, which is something I was a bit disappointed with. But because we didn't have much time before the party map, I couldn't create an entire landscape back then. But it's something I want to correct for the next party map, which is going to be the jungle mockup. So yeah, jungle mockup is for the next party, and it's going to be islands placed in water and they are actually going to be placed in Veloren's water, like on the sides of the map. So that way you won't actually waste actual Veloren terrain on the map, because that's where like the dungeons are, the villages are, and this mockup is not going to have all those features. It's not going to have merchants. It's not going to have dungeon and everything, because it's at the end of the day, it's just importing an asset, no matter the size of it. And the goal is to have similar scale. It's going to be a bit bigger, but there is more water, so it kind of compensates. Yeah, and improving the terrain is the main purpose of the next mockup. So for the jungle mockup, because we have to prepare for the palette and plan ahead to actually have one palette that fits everything we want, we have to think before, like, what is going to be in the map, so that way I don't run out of space in the palette. It's quite rare to run out of space, because I mean, you still have a lot of space, and most of those colors are actually wasted. Like, I didn't use everything. It's just I like to have this palette organized like this. Even so, I only use like 4 colors in this. So yeah, because we are generating a terrain this time, and it's islands. So we have stone, grass, sand, and water. So that's already 4 colors. Then we'll have trees, so we'll need the leaves and the wood, so green and brown. Then, since it's supposed to be a mock-up, I need to include like what a jungle village could look like, so houses, huts, and everything. I kind of want to do temples as well, because I like to do big things, and if it's going to be a release party map, it needs to be good looking and like something that is really big, so that way it's actually a party map and not just a mockup. I want to add ships in it, because some of you may know, but I love the pirate stuff and everything, and I want to actually add ships on the islands and have some kind of treasure map. I don't know if you've seen, but Thor has made this awesome looking treasure map for the party, and this landscape is actually the landscape on Magica Voxel, which I don't know how he does it, but it's pretty insane. It's really good looking. Yeah, so ships, maybe a fort, I don't know yet, like some pirate fort, or I don't know yet. A pirate cove, because I love pirates. And another thing is, I've said before, like, to prepare for the palette, but not knowing in advance what everything you want is also fine, because like there is always going to be a new idea that pops into your mind. Yeah, so now we can dive into Magica Voxel to actually generate the temple we see there, like to create it. I don't know if you will have time to do all of it, but I mostly want to point on like some tips and everything to get going with other assets if you want to do building assets. And one final note, which I think is an important thing to note, is that you don't have to actually do all of it. Like, there are so many individual assets in this that you can start. If you want to learn Magica Voxel and learn how to make buildings, you can start with one small asset. And then, like, this asset, it's going to be small, but if you add all those assets together, it can make huge things. And when you start, it's important to know that you won't directly be able to do the temples and the big stuff. Starting with the house can be like pretty annoying, because it's not the thing you would want to do directly, but it actually helps you get to know the software and everything. And no asset is wasted. like there are some assets that I've done a year ago that are in this map, and there are some assets that I did one day before the release party map was in the game. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the current party map, like for the next release party. It takes a bit of time to load. Yeah. So yeah, this is the. I don't know if you noticed, but it's the same map as before, as I said. And yeah, the goal is to have some kind of jungle temples on islands and a parent hunt to find a treasure and everything. And as you can see, I've already implemented some temples. So there is this jungle pyramid and 2 smaller jungle temples. And I actually want to do another temple because those are assets that I've done a year ago, and they may need some rework or something like that. I don't know yet if I will rework them. It depends on how the next temples are going to look, if I've changed my style a bit or not. So this is the palette so far, and most of it is empty at the moment because I've only done the colors for the stuff that is in the asset right now. So yeah, we can start with the dungeon. Yeah, we have around 40 minutes for it. And one thing to know, one important thing that I really encourage to do is to, especially for buildings, it's not the case for every asset, but for every building assets, I would say that you should use odd proportions. I can explain why. Oops. So odd proportions will allow you to have way more details in a building. So if you want to find the middle on even proportion stuff, you have to have 4 blocks because there is no middle, there is nothing in this cross right there. You can't place anything. But on the other hand, if you use odd proportions, you only have 1 block for the middle. And this 1 block, it allows you to have way more space in order to have detail and everything. So I can demonstrate it a bit. So if you use a 10 by 10 and we want to have a cross, we have used a lot of space just for this cross. And on the 9, if I do 9 and 9, it's actually smaller, but it feels like there is more space in those squares. And it's also good if you want to do some stuff in diagonal, because it will be the same proportions. In a case, if you would want to make diagonal for this, you can say it's a bit weird, because on this case it's 2, and on this case it's only 1. And if you want to do 2, it's even weirder, in my opinion, because there is no more space, and it doesn't really look like a diagonal. So yeah, anyways. Yeah, I've taken some notes for the building, so that way it goes faster to generate it. So I'll start with, yeah, the proportions are important, like the being odd or everything, but also the coherence between the proportions you're going to use for the entire building. Sometimes one wall might be way too high in comparison to the wall below it. And something I like to say is, do not hesitate to destroy everything and restart. It sounds annoying, but there is no better way to learn. So yeah, I start with this is going to be the base of the of the jungle temple we are trying to generate. So yeah, I'm just doing the base really quickly right now. So I don't know if there are any questions so far, but while I prepare it, it's nice time if you want.
All good, no worries. Not too much from chat, but Ubuntu did say the Desert City was breathtaking and a lot of fun during the last release party, and I think as well just kind of seeing what the new one will look like and what the aspirations are for the treasure map is definitely very exciting.
Yeah, for me the two things that were lacking in the Desert City were like the player interaction and the terrain connection with the actual Veloren terrain. So I think those two issues are going to be less visible in the next party, but I don't think it will be as huge in terms of, like, it's not going to be a city, because when you have a city, it's only made of buildings and everything. So like it looks way bigger than it actually is because there is no vegetation, there is no terrain next to it. And then the next party map, I would say that there is going to be less assets, like less different assets, because it's going to be a jungle mockup. It's not going to be like a jungle city mockup. So the village or the town in the mockup is going to be much smaller in scale, but the overall asset is going to be bigger. Yeah. So yeah, I've took notes on the proportions. Okay. So when building, like we start with the roll shapes, like it's only a big square right now. Oh, I forgot something. I'm using like this tool, which is the symmetry tool. One important thing to note about this tool is that if you use odd proportion in the asset, you have to have odd proportions above, otherwise it's not going to link correctly. And it's the same if you use even proportions, you have to have even stuff above. Okay. I should put the grid. So is it visible on screen? Because it's a bit dark, but okay. Is the asset
I think so, but let me just
compared to the
I think it should be okay. I'm checking out the YouTube right now. What I'll do is I'm gonna make the screen bigger, and then I'm gonna take myself off for a bit just so it should be more visible to people.
So far I'm doing the base, like this part, the surrounding. I will do the stairs later because I want to be sure that it's linked correctly before making the stairs, because the stairs connect all the levels. So if one level is not done correctly, I would have to redo the stairs anyway. So and right now, as I said, it's only just a roll shape because details come at the end. Like you can get a pretty good idea of how a building is gonna look by just having its shape, and if the shape is not appealing, there is no point in continuing. So there is no point in making the details on each level before going to the next level, if at the end you've wasted your time because the level below is not suited for the level above. Okay, so I'm just checking my notes for the going in. Okay, and then it's by 8 on this side. Okay, so at this level, I'm making the small gap between those stairs and the start of the wall going higher. So that's why I was like calculating by how much to go in on the square. By 2, and then we raise by 11. Yeah, I've done a bit of the asset before. I've not made the details, I've only made the raw shape. And that way I don't spend time retrying the like the height and everything. So that's why we can show a bit more of the detailing part and everything. By 4 and 4. Okay, so we go in again this time. And also a thing to note is I'm not going to reproduce exactly this. Like, it's only used for inspiration. The same way the assets I do are not going to be exactly the same in the pro generation. Like, it's only used for inspiration. So like, I use concept arts for my buildings because it's a good idea to have an image before. And it's practically the same process. Like, the Progen team uses assets I do because they are already turned into voxels. That way it's much easier to have a visual image when you want to do the maths and everything. Okay. Oops. 4. And I'm going to explain after I do the base shape some tools I use that are not in basic, like in the base Magica Voxel that you download. There are a lot of shaders online. Some of them are free, some of them are like you need to pay on a Patreon or something. I only have free assets right now, but I'm considering buying some shaders in the future because some of them are just insane in terms of how useful they can be to speed up the process. And you won't be able to master Magica Voxel. I still don't master all the tools of Magica Voxel in one day. Like, it's an ongoing process. Like, first buildings I didn't even know about the mirroring part and the symmetry. And it's so much better. Like, you only have to do 1/4 of the building. Yeah, I'm just trying to not get lost in my notes. Yep. And then the final level. So it's 2 and by 5. Okay. And then we go up 9. So that's pretty much the size of everything leading up to this part. I've not done the top part yet, like the entering within the temple and going down inside to like the inside of the temple. And I don't know if you've noted, but like all of the interior is only blocks right now, and that's not something I'm going to show because it's just a matter of cleaning up and making the inside of stuff. I've not done it on most of my buildings because at the end of the day, the goal of the building is to serve as a mockup. Like, it's only used for the pro generation, so it doesn't need to be fully functional. Like, it's just a matter of optimizing your time so it doesn't become an hindrance to make everything perfect and everything. So now we're going to make the stairs, and I'm going to use a different tool. Yeah, I've not talked about the brushes yet, but so far I've only used the box brush, which is just making like a box like this. So you can use it to place single block, but you can use it to make huge box. And then there is the face, which will just put blocks above everything on the same surface. That way, I don't have to do a box, I just need to do this. And it fills everything. Same for this if I wanted to. Sometimes it can be tricky, this one, because you forgot that you had it. And can be pretty annoying to come back and fix stuff you've done with it. But you learn how to not forget with time. So yeah, I'm going to do the stairs, and like on the stairs, we see that this has 2 stairs on this side, and this has only 1 stair. We're going to do the same thing because I quite like how it renders, like how it looks with it. So yeah, the stairs now. Oh no, yeah, never mind. Yep, I got a bit lost, sorry about that. So also I used, like right now we don't see it, but when you're on a block, it shows the coordinates below and it's pretty useful. Like for example, if I want to know where I am on this block, like I see I'm on the Y. So I can just go on Y. And then I know that it's at the same place. Yep. And now I'm going to use a shader that is not in the base Veloren, but you can download it online. A base Magica Voxel, I mean, not Veloren. And it's the stair shader, which is really useful to make. I need to change the color because one thing to note with the shaders is that they do not take into account the symmetry, like the symmetry tool. So I have to change color. That way I can copy paste, like copy all of one color and paste it on the other side. And that way it has done the stairs directly without any need to do like all the going down at the same time. It's a matter of amazing your time. Pasting it on the other way, and then you use the rotate tool. Turn it. So yeah, Magica Voxel is all about finding the right tools to go faster. And once you know that those tools exist, sometimes you just can't do without them anymore. Like at first you will do stuff that you didn't know was possible to make faster, and when you realize that it's possible, it becomes so much easier. So now we are going to do the second stair leading up to the top level, the entrance of the temple. By the way, you can tell me if I'm going too fast or too slowly. Yeah, we have 20 minutes left.
Looks like we're doing pretty well so far, I think. I mean, I am noticing that like on YouTube, the compression makes it so it's a bit more difficult to see the grid as you're moving around. But that being said, I don't think.
I can remove the grid if you want. Does it look better?
Let me just wait for it to buffer to get to YouTube. Yeah, I guess probably. I'll let anybody to let me know.
I could also change the color of the grid to make it white.
That might do well. Like if it's highly contrasted, that might be good.
Great. Is it better like this?
Let me see. Oh yeah. I think that's good.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good contrast right there.
Yeah, it's not going to look good if I use white blocks, but I'm not planning to use white, so it's fine. Yeah, so I don't get lost. 32. So this time we are not going to use the stair tool because it's not going to be a perfect diagonal. Like, it's not going to work. So I'm going to use the line tool, which is this one. But the line tool, it's a bit tricky because right now it's like some parts of the line tool. It took me a year or even more to understand how it worked. Because right now, if I do the line tool, it's going to follow every blocks I've made. And it doesn't work to make a stair. But if you remove the project line, it will make a straight line straight to the block you want. So 85. Yep. And then I can use the line tool. Make
that's fancy.
Connection. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Like, when you know this exists, it becomes like so cool to use for the future. Like, I used to do stairs manually by hand by just placing, like, just going like this. It just takes so much time for.
Yeah.
Like, I'm using the face tool that way, and it connects really fast. So yeah, Magica Voxel is all about learning how to get faster, how to do something, because the base of Magica Voxel is really simple. Like, you just place blocks.
Yeah.
And then there is nothing like on Minecraft where you have different size of blocks, different, like, where you have stairs or stuff like this. It's just blocks, and all of the blocks are going to be the same way. So it's all about how to place those blocks faster, rather than how to place the blocks. But then again, with time, you can also learn how to make stuff better looking for Magica Voxel. And like, I know it took me quite some time to make good looking stuff with only voxels, because I used to build on Minecraft, and on Minecraft the blocks have textures. And you have different size of blocks. Like, for example, you have stairs, and the stairs can help to make to add some detail and everything. Yeah. And like, for example, on this place right there. Oh, by the way, I think something is wrong. Oh, it's fine. You can use the. Yeah, you can use only blocks on Magica Voxel, so you have to learn how to make details by only using blocks and not having like different size blocks. It's something that it takes time to get used to it, but once you get used to it, it becomes so much faster and more efficient. So we've done the one side of the stairs, and now we are going to be doing the unique stair leading straight to the top. Just need to remove this because, whoops. Yeah, okay, it's fine. I'll do it later. So 37. Okay. And then 69. Yep, that's this one. So yeah, we are going to do the same method as we've done with those stairs, which is the line tool. Oops. Yeah, one thing is you have to be able to see both parts you want to link. With the camera, otherwise it's not going to work. Yeah, I failed. A bit tricky depending on the angle, but still faster than what it would have been with the doing everything by hand. So far we have not added any details. We're just doing like the base of the building, which is really nice. Like it's when you see this, like it's good looking. Like the shape is decent, but there is no detail. It's not like you don't directly see a temple. You just see the stairs of a temple or something like this. The detail is what comes next to make it feel like it belongs to a jungle. And to add the detail, there is the coloring, of course, which I've already started to do a bit. So the stairs are different color from. Let me render it quickly. The stairs are different color from the blocks of the building, which is minor difference, but when you add everything together, it makes a huge difference to make good looking stuff. That way we've done the stairs. And for the stairs, we're going to add a bit more details on the stairs, because if you check on those stairs, like there are, I don't know what they are called, but those parts that are a bit higher, like to make a line around the stairs to differentiate from the rest of the building. So we're going to do this part. Yeah, using this. Actually, we could use this color. Yeah, this is the part where I improvise, because I've not planned more, because I want also to be able to see the process where I actually think on what to do, rather than just making the asset, like just copying the proportions I had and everything. Like getting in the process on knowing what to do and everything is nice as well, I think.
Improv is always good.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I'm going that way. Yeah, sounds nice. So I'm just making it a bit higher, so it changes the depth of the stairs. And also, if any of you is interested in learning Magica Voxel or in new contributors on the Discord, there is a link in the pinned messages where you have tutorials to learn the basis of Magica Voxel that I've not covered in this live. So, for example, I've used shortcuts and everything that I didn't mention it because there are tutorials for it already, and it's not related to Veloren. Like it's related to the software used, like we use for Veloren, but there are already tutorials made by people, and it's really well explained, I think. So if you ever want to, to check those out, it's nice. I'm going to do a different stair, like not doing one by one this time, because it's one by one because it's going down one by one, but it's going up by 2 sometimes. So I'm just going to always raise by 2. And also when you look at it that way, it's not looking like, it's not repetitive. One thing I've learned throughout the like my experience with Magica Voxel is when you find a good pattern, there are 2 tendencies. Like you only do different patterns on your buildings. So for example, you have one pattern there, one pattern there, one there, one there, and one there, which is going to overcrowd the building. Like too much detail kills the detail, and then you have problems where you actually use only the same pattern over and over, which make it look like it's repetitive. So changing the stairs a bit is nice as well, because it breaks the pattern while creating a new pattern. Just making sure I'm not making any mistakes. And then I think that, yeah, I'm going to add a bit of detail, but we are running out of time. But like I'm not going to add the details on the building, but just showing what you can do to add details, because I won't have time to plan the details. But then I'm also going to show you how to import on the big asset we've seen before, because that's important as well. So yeah, we have that part of the stairs. We can starting to look like a temple a bit more. Oh, I forgot this. In the color. Yep. So for the details, there are basically two things you can do. It's creating depths. So, for example, doing stuff like this. And you can find some patterns. I will show patterns I've done instead of creating new ones. So that way we don't run out of time before creating anything. So yeah, there is creating depths with the blocks, and there is coloring. So if you do colors, you will actually add some depths to it as well, because it looks like it's a different material or a different I don't know how to say it, but like it's one block in behind, even so it's not. So coloring and making like the use of depths and the use of colors is really useful to create good looking stuff. And another thing to add detail is the run command. So once you have all the colors you want, you can select this wand. You can select all the colors you have, like one color. So it could be this one or this one, because you have only used two colors so far. And you create a color gradient. So I've already created a gradient. Again, there is a tutorial in the pinned discussions in new contributors to show you how to make a color gradient if you are interested. And you randomize, and we don't see it much because of the white lines, but I need to actually change the go the other way. We can see that we have added a bit of texture without changing anything, like without adding any blocks. So this texture is really nice. Sometimes the round color doesn't work well because it's randomized. So if you want something organized, you should do it by hand. But the round color is pretty nice. If you want to do something like the building is a bit destroyed or stuff like this, you can use the voxel command, the voxel brush, sorry, and change a bit and change the color. Yep. Oops. And you go with the paint one. You can increase the size of the voxel. That's why it's more connected. It's less random. Like obviously, if you want to do something like if it's a bit broken and everything, you should remove the symmetry, because otherwise it's going to be weird to have like two things, the same thing on the same side. Like it's not natural. I'm just going to leave the building like this. I'm going to save it. And I'm going to show you some example on how to add depths on buildings. Yeah, and I'm going to show you not what to do as well, because there is I've added it, but I want to change it. That's what I was talking about before, like about using the same pattern over and over, or creating too much patterns. So it's one of the first assets I've done on Magica Voxel. It's like the third or fourth one, and yeah, I'm just going to go in this box. Oops, I need to rent. Sorry about that. It's going to take a bit of time. Yeah, so if you're wondering what's going on, it's just because the map is too many different tiles. You have to use the sparse, which is going to load the entire map. I know it removes something else, like it removes something, but I don't remember what it is. I think it might be the material, but I'm not sure. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this building because it's always the same thing. It's repetitive. And while the pattern itself is not bad, I wouldn't say it's great, but it's not bad. Having it on every level is kind of too much. So yeah, just let me save it. I can show how to import an asset in this map. So this is where all the tiles, all the assets you add are in, and you have to be sure to organize it properly, because otherwise it can be problematic if you want to move stuff around. So I like to have one group for the tiles. And you can see, for example, I've made a mistake, is I've put some trees in the tile group instead of putting it in the root of the map. It's not a big deal, but if you want to be organized in everything, it can become problematic. So to import assets in this asset, you have to use the pattern brush. And the pattern brush will allow you to generate stuff you have done on other Magica Voxel files in this file. So, oops, that's not it. If, for example, I wanted to generate the temple we've done, I can place it like this. You have to use the star on both sides, and you generate it. Then you can move it around, place it like you want. And it becomes really good because it's really fast to implement buildings. And that way you can do all buildings the way you want without having all those landscape bothering the view and anything. That's what I've done with the desert city. That's something I've not done with another project that I've abandoned because it became too annoying to deal with, because I wasn't using the pattern. Because I discovered the pattern around 4 months ago, I think. Like I discovered it in the world view because there is. Whoops, no. Sorry. There is like the tile, which is only this one, and then there is the world. Like this is all what's available, and I knew that the pattern was something you could use within this box, but I did not know that you could use it for the entire thing.
I'm gonna have to wrap it up here just because I gotta get going pretty soon. But that being said, if you want to continue on the Veloren Discord, I think that's a great way for people to come in and ask any questions they like or anything. But yeah, I think there's a lot of really great insight that you've shared. Like sort of talking about architecture, talking about like just ways to get better at Magica Voxel and everything. Yeah. So anything else you want to just briefly end it off with?
Yeah, so if you have any questions regarding Magica Voxel or anything, you can message me on Discord. I'm pretty much all the time on Discord. And if some of you are interested, we can continue like working on the map a bit in the event channel. So if you can write in the event chat or the VC channel if some of you are interested. But otherwise, thank you very much for listening. I hope it was useful. And I hope some of
Perfect.
you will start to work a bit more within Magica Voxels because we are lacking a bit of people in the aesthetics department. Like we have Gemu, which is a huge boost because Gemu does everything. But if some of you are interested to start working on assets, it could be. I think this video can be nice to not be scared too much about like getting into it. There are obviously milestones to reach, but it's pretty easy to start, and it's pretty easy to improve in Magica Voxel if you know where to look at, and if you have the motivation, obviously.
Absolutely. And I mean, as always, any new contributors are like greatly wanted. We love having new people come in and try stuff out. And I think especially what you've shown off today allows people to like do really encapsulated small types of, well, I mean, you're making big things, but you're able to make a small part of the bigger project. It's not too complex.
And that's the thing as well I want to conclude on is you don't have to start with this. You don't have to start with big things. You can just start with this. Like, this is only 79 by 65 by 65, which is quite small for a building. So you can start with small stuff and then use it for a big picture later on. This, I've done it a year ago. I didn't even know I would be able to do that. Like, I've discovered I would be able to do that around 2 months ago. So there is a huge...
all small steps.
Yeah, like there are so many steps you can climb fast and discover, and there are probably some stuff that I don't even know about in Magica Voxel yet, but I hope that someday, if it's not me, someone else will be able to discover them to contribute to Veloren even more.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Hannibal. So we'll be back in probably about 2 weeks with another Veloren Reading Club, and we'll see you then.
Thank you. Bye.